It's uncompromising. It's a Tesco exclusive. It's a conspiracy. Today we're drinking Lost Cosmonaughts. Hi guys, it's Jim here from Dr. Tankenstein with another episode of Beers of the British Isles. On today's episode, we're drinking Lost Cosmonaughts by North Brewing Co. Now it was £3 from Tesco. It's exclusively at Tesco, brewed for Tesco by North Brewing Company. It's a 6% double dry hopped IPA. Not a double IPA, just double dry hopped IPA. Now this is becoming a bit of a conspiracy to me. I feel like nowadays if you see that something's a double dry hopped IPA, you kind of know what you're expecting. And I don't know when that was established, because double dry hopping is a technique, IPA is a style of beer, but it seems like when you meld those two together, breweries are now only doing one thing with it. It's almost like a precursor to the New England IPA. So double dry hopped IPA, to me, when I imagine that now, it's a low bitterness, soft mouthfeel, hazy beer with massive resinous hop mouthfeel. But when you think about it, if you double dry hopped an IPA, that it could mean anything. It seems like it's kind of narrowing down and it's becoming its own sort of unofficial style on its own, if that makes sense. If I'm right about it later on, I'll make sure I gloat about it. But speaking of conspiracies, the name of this beer, Lost Cosmonaughts, it was a story I'd never heard of before. But apparently Lost Cosmonauts is a whole conspiracy theory whereby people think that Russia had gone either into space or to the moon prior to the famous attempts in '69, I guess. I don't know a lot about space, but this conspiracy theory is that Russia had sent a lot of people into space and they just never came back. So they weren't able to say we've gone into space, because they would have had to admit that they just lost people in space, which I think is kind of a cool thing. I mean, I didn't look into it too much because I didn't want to get down that rabbit hole of Lost Cosmonauts, but maybe look into it, and if somebody knows about it, get in touch and tell me more about it. Right, so back to the beer. Back to the beer itself. There are no cosmonauts in this beer. We don't have a lot of information about this beer, to be honest. No IBU information, though with my little conspiracy twist earlier on, I'm imagining it's low, in line with what I would imagine for a double dry hopped IPA, if that is a style. I imagine the IBU is low. We don't have any grist information, except that it contains oats, again, supporting my theory. The hops they use in this, absolute powerhouse classic combination, Mosaic and Ekuanot. Just those two hops are becoming a real kind of modern partnership, modern classic partnership. They just bounce off each other, and so the hops with such depth that, depending on the ratio, the timing, the whether you use them together or apart, it's becoming such a well-studied case for dry hopping and hopping in general, that it could be anything. I mean, the breweries say that you can expect stone fruits and tropical overtones, but really, when these two get together, it could mean anything, and I'm really looking forward to it. But like I say, what I'm expecting from this beer is that kind of unofficial double dry hopped IPA sub-style that seems to be emerging. I imagine it's going to be light in colour. It's going to be on the hazy side, but not opaque. Good head retention, low bitterness, semi-sweet. It's going to have hops screaming out at you as you open the can. You're just going to be able to smell pineapple and mango and maybe even passion fruit just jumping out of the can when you open it. So let's open it. Okay, we're in the glass. Marvel at the hazy beer with the great head. It looks amazing. Yeah, it looks pretty much exactly as I mentioned. When I opened the can, it didn't fizz or anything, so, you know, looking good. The carbonation looks actually like it's going to cause some issues. It looks quite well carbonated, but yeah, I mean, hazy, it's pretty much opaque actually. It's a very impressive haze in this beer. The head is clinging on for dear life in this terrible glass, and I applaud it. Yeah, so the hop character isn't as juicy as I thought it was going to be, but it does have, you know, it's that kind of, that hop aroma that just stings your nostrils. It really just goes in there and spikes down right in the back of your nose. That pine, resinous pine. I love this kind of hopping. Right, I'm gonna have a go. Yeah, it's juicy but not sweet. So it immediately, once it's in your mouth, it immediately just searches out every corner of your mouth and coats it in that lovely kind of oily hop quality, if that makes sense. So when you do an early dry hop, some of the essential oils in the hops are biotransformed into other essential oils. And it kind of brings those out in the beer. I guess they're not that soluble, and that's why you get the haze. But in those beers, the hops almost add something to the body of the beer, and it's a real attractive characteristic in a beer, and that's what this has. Yeah, bitterness actually on the balance side, it's definitely not too sweet, but there is residual sweetness lingering, kind of in the mid-tongue. It dissipates quite quickly, but it is there. There's sweetness and bitterness. I wouldn't say that they're balanced. I would say that they're playing off each other. So it almost comes in waves. You know, initially you get the sour carbonation-ness, then you get the sweetness, then the bitterness just cleans house at the end. Yeah, I mean, Ekuanot Mosaic, you really can't go wrong. There is a mango current to it, but I get what they were talking about with the stone fruit aspect. It's that kind of, if fruit were a spectrum, I guess it would be on the sort of sticky fruit. It's kind of a sticky fruit character. So if you imagine a nice big ripe mango rather than a fresh mango that's kind of maybe been sat in the fruit bowl for a while, and it's just got nice and real nice and sweet and flavorful. That's what we're dealing with here with this. So yeah, looks great. The head's awesome. Carbonation higher than I expected, and the palate is just the palate is a circus. Let's say that. Right, North Brewing Co, founded 2015 in Leeds, of all places. So Leeds seems to be hotting up. You know, there are a few breweries popping up in Leeds now. Used to be if you had an hour to kill in Leeds, you were in trouble. But yeah, I mean, there seems to be a few breweries now. This brewery has a few tap rooms dotted around Leeds. I won't tell you where they are. You can go look for them themselves. I mean, they're probably not open just right now at the minute, but hopefully they'll be getting back up and running soon enough. It's a 2015 Leeds. It's nice to see that North Brewing Co are actually northern, because you know there's another brewery out there that has North in the name that are actually from East London, which I just really don't understand. On the website of North Brewing Co, it says something like it's the home of the craft beer bar. Now that's either a real big claim or like a technicality. I don't know. I would love some clarification on that, because if these were founded in 2015, you know, I was in craft beer bars 2008. You know, that's when I first remember going in one. So maybe it's like a technicality. Maybe it's like the first craft beer tap room kind of thing. I don't know. But if it is I mean, even if it's not, you still go down there. But if it is the first craft beer bar, I mean, that's kind of cool. Yeah, North Brewing Co. I know you don't want to, but get yourself over to Leeds and try some of their stuff in person. Right, how am I gonna sum up Lost Cosmonaughts? How am I gonna sum up this unique beer in the generic can? The appearance, as we already said, is very, very good. It's a very attractive beer. I really need to sort my glass game out, but if I just give it a little swirl there, I mean, the haze in this, the haze is that of a much more expensive beer. And I know that sounds silly, but it really, really is. It looks expensive. It's bright, it's glowing, it's kind of opaque. You know, it's not, I imagined a fine haze. This is real, real thick. Head retention is great. You know, it looks amazing. I mean, the hop aroma and character is a real maze. Like I say, you do have tropical overtones, but it's pineapple, it's mango, it's everything, and then it's all enveloped with, like I say, that kind of hop feel. I don't know, I guess you would call it like a hop mouthfeel. That real kind of resinous, oily juiciness that just oozes out of those hops. You know, those real amazing Mosaic and Ekuanot hops. They're just really, really working hard here, bouncing off each other, doing wonderful things. Yeah, and I stand by what I said earlier. It's like a real ripe mango. There's residual sweetness from the malt bill, balanced with the bitterness. Definitely head down to Tesco, get yourself a Lost Cosmonaughts. As you do so, head down to the bottom of the description there, click on the link, and you'll find that I sum this beer up as Spaceman by Babylon 2. Just because everybody, I was going to say everybody loves that song. That's probably not true. Everyone will tolerate that song. But Spaceman, Lost Cosmonaughts, I don't know, guys. This is a real good beer. I'm glad I found it. Head down to Tesco, grab yourself one. If you like it, head down to your local bottle shop, ask them for something similar. There are definitely some very, very strong contenders out there for something similar. You might just need a nudge in the right direction to find one of this quality. Big fan. Until then, guys, cheers.